Is Hugh Freeze too stubborn when it comes to the offense?
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Ben Taylor, the host of Auburn Opelika this morning over the Auburn Network family of stations, hanging out with us on this bonus edition of the show. What do we need to see moving forward coming out of the bye week? A few changes need to be made to the offense. But first things first, like Hugh Freeze, the stubbornness has really taken kind of the lead amongst the Auburn fan base when you talk about the problems in the offense. Like clearly something needs to change. He keeps saying that, hey, like we need to run the football more, and yet it almost seems like you're going out of your way to run the football with your running backs. Then the stubbornness, like it could cost them this era of Auburn football.
Well, it's like that thing that you hear about addicts where it's like, look, I know what I need to do. I can't do it. I keep going back to my old ways of doing this instead. So it's a habitual thing. And I don't know what's going on though. I mean, Zach, is it something where he is, because we've talked about who calls on first down, who makes calls on second down, who makes calls.
Think that's happening.
I don't think that's the thing either. But if it were, let's just say the play is in and Hugh sees something and all of a sudden gets in Jackson's ear. So it was supposed to be a run. We were going to run the ball. And then all of a sudden he saw something that clearly Jackson maybe didn't see once execution time got, time to take place. But it gets frustrating because, as I've said to numerous people, I heard after Oklahoma, we should probably have run the ball more. I heard after Texas A&M, we should probably have run the ball more. You know what I don't want to hear after Georgia in the postgame press conference? So I want to go ahead and get out in front of it now that, and I know that fans will say, well, we told him we wanted to run it. We told him we wanted to go downfield and throw it. What? He's not listening to that stuff.
Correct. He shouldn't be. I hope he's not.
I hope he's not either. This is just, I think this is in his DNA to have a pass-first offense, and he's got the utilities in front of him to not have a pass-first offense, and he's just not using them because he's forcing a square peg in a round hole at this point in time. So I just, after Cobb ran off, that few yards run that he had, I don't know, 25, 30-yard run that he had, and all of a sudden you put him in the icebox after, it's almost like a guy that in basketball hits 3 or 4 shots in a row, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, let's get him out of there. I'm going, what are we doing? Like, give the hot hand.
Yeah, to me, it's just you clearly want to throw the football, but I think you missed on quarterback again.
Yeah.
You missed on quarterback the last 2 years. You picked Peyton Thorne the first time. You picked Peyton Thorne again. And now Jackson Arnold, I hate it for the guy because I think he's really talented.
Yeah.
But there's something about him. He can't throw the ball. Like, he physically can throw it, but mentally, like, he can't get it out of his hand. And it stinks. Everything is just so behind. And I think he's smart. Like, I think he knows what he's supposed to do. I think he has a hard time delivering it all. Everything's late. Everything is late. And there's just, you can see him looking at an open guy and he just can't throw the ball.
Well, he's throwing it like a high school quarterback. He's not throwing it like, let's take the Oklahoma game, for instance. He is on the hitch and go. He needs to throw that on the hitch, not on the go. And he is waiting till the receiver gets open instead of anticipating the receiver being open. And I think part of that too, Zach, though, it goes back. You've heard people say this. I don't necessarily disagree with it either. With him going so many passes without an interception, let's just go ahead and get one of those out of the way. Let's just, let's get off that snide. Let it be a deep ball that's a 50-50. If they intercept it, it's as good as a punt. Let's in the streak. Let's be done with it. Maybe that loosens him up a little bit. Either that or Jackson tends to do a little bit better in the RPO. I only saw a couple of true, what I would call RPO, where he actually reads. It's more of I know it's a run pass option, but it's a read. And when it was a called play, like, it may have looked like an RPO, but clearly he was keeping it the entire time. There was no read. I think he does better when he's allowed to read, but I could be wrong. I mean, he could just not be the guy. The only thing that worries me about that is if you decide we go down that road of the number 2 of going with Deuce. The time that Deuce was in there, he put the ball on the ground a couple of times. I didn't like seeing that either. So I don't know if that would be different in this scenario or not. But
it seems like the talk is more. It would be more Ashton. I don't think they're going to make a QB change during the bye week. But
no, I don't either. I don't either.
Scouting evaluation though needs to be discussed. I mean, you look at the top passers right now when you just talk strictly yardage in college football right now. Zoe Robertson's one, which is kind of wild. Darian Mensah, transfer. Joey Aguilar, he's 6th, transfer. Steve Angeli with Syracuse. I'm pretty sure he was a transfer. Chandler Morris at Virginia, slinging it around. Obviously, John Mateer, Dante Moore. Well, he transferred from UCLA, right? Fernando Mendoza, who we saw beat us at Cal last year, going to Indiana. Bo Prabula, and he's 23rd in passing for Missouri. It's just, you got to ask the question, like a lot of these guys that transferred that did not get the pub that Jackson Arnold did, their stats are significantly more explosive. And they don't have Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton and Malcolm Simmons. And to me, like that's another thing that's on freeze. Like, is Auburn's offense better if you have any of those guys right now? Like, I think so.
I think so. Yeah, I think Prabula's in there. Yeah, I mean, I told you I've liked him since week 1 when I saw him, and who would have thunk it? I mean, when he went there, I was like, okay, he's not very big, but he seems to be doing fine. So, and that's been the question: is this on Freeze, or is this on Jackson, or is it a combination of both, or is it more on Freeze? I think it's more on Freeze because I think
it's on. Jackson hasn't done, which I hate it because all the Jackson naysayers were correct. Right. Yeah. Right now, they're all right. And I hate it. I hate that they're right. But Jackson has been everything that everyone outside of Auburn told us he would be.
And that's why I say during this bye week, I think you watch just as much self-film as you do film on Georgia, trying to prepare for Georgia, because clearly that stubbornness has led to – and that's the thing is if Jackson is that, Zach – then take advantage of these backs that you got, or take advantage of, I know that, everybody go, well, they can start to read that if you put Singleton, coming in and giving him the ball at full speed. And I'm still fine with it because clearly we're not in a position to throw the football at this point in time. And I don't think that's because of the receivers, which some people have complained about routes. I think that is holding the ball too long and just sometimes not pulling the trigger when you should just pull the trigger. And if it gets tipped, it gets tipped. If it gets intercepted, it gets intercepted. Because right now, last year we blamed losing games on turnovers. Now we're losing games because we're refusing to try to come close to having a turnover.
What needs to change on the offense? What do we need to see moving forward? Ben and I take a stab at that next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Quo. One of the tools that makes a huge difference for business owners is Quo, formerly Open Phone. It's the same great business phone system you've heard me talk about before, just with a new name. And here's why it matters. Ben, every missed call, you're leaving money on the table. Nothing's more frustrating as a customer. If I call somewhere and they don't answer, what am I doing? I'm calling your competitor. Quo makes sure that doesn't happen. It's the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications. See why 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly Open Phone. Get started for free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedoncollege. That is QUO.com/lockedoncollege. And if you've got existing numbers with another service, Quo will port them over at no extra charge. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. They tell you can bet $5. If your first $5 bet hits, $300 in bonus bets to use throughout the app.
I love it.
Yeah, you should love it. You should love it. They just dropped odds for conferences when it comes to basketball.
Oh.
And they have us at plus 2,000
to
win the SEC. So they are not high on the Auburn Tigers when it comes to the SEC. If you want to say, hey, no, I believe in the Auburn Tigers, you should take plus 2,000
Grab that money now.
Now. Absolutely. Yep. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Do changes need to be made to the offense? Do you think it's more personnel or more scheme/play calling, Ben Taylor? If you could pick just one of those to change, which would you pick?
You got to go scheme and play calling. I think personnel-wise, you've got the talent is there. I think the players.
I agree. Yeah.
I hate to go down this road, and I wanted to ask you this question. This is why I was waiting on this point to be brought up.
Oh.
Sam Pittman's a pretty good offensive line coach. And my question is, since he's not doing a whole lot right now, Nick Saban used to be notorious for bringing in coaches to come in and be grad assistants or specialty coaches.
Yeah.
We've had some offensive line issues. Why not ask Sam Pittman if he's doing anything for the next 6 or so games? And let's see if we can see if he sees something a little differently than what we're seeing through our orange and blue glasses at this point in time, because
that'd be awesome. I don't know why he would come here of all places, but that would be awesome.
Hey, you got nothing else to do. Why not, why not go ahead and spend some time?
If Auburn's calling him, I'm sure he's getting calls from other places that could, compete for a championship.
I agree. I agree. But it's because it worries me personnel wise. You talk about, he kept referring to him as X, and the amount of sacks he's allowed when he only allowed one at Virginia Tech last year, and now he's up to 5 or 6 or something like that. The penalty,
I hate it. I hate it for him.
I do too, because now it's in his head. I mean, and that's an issue too. And fingers being pointed at. I don't know how 18 to 22-year-old kids deal with that whenever fingers are being pointed. And clearly, when an offensive lineman is moving a little too early, it's not like they can hide. I mean, they're pretty much out there for everybody to see. So
everybody's still but you. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I still don't think it's a personnel issue. I think that this is definitely a scheme and something that needs to be reevaluated. You got 2 weeks to do it. I'm not saying overhaul the whole system, but I do think that some small changes need to be made where it goes back to that stubbornness you and I just talked about at the beginning, where clearly what you're doing is not working over the last couple of games, and offense wasn't really stellar even prior to that. That performance was Baylor, maybe? I mean,
offensive line was good against Baylor.
Yeah, that's the offensive performance against Baylor. And so, now that Damari seems to be a whole lot healthier, like use your running backs. Cobb's proven that he's a good running back. We still haven't seen what we saw. And offensive line, yes, it's got some issues, but I just feel like there's some stuff that they can fix because aren't they the oldest offensive line in all the SEC right now?
Yeah, I think they're the most experienced for sure. They've got the most starts. Doesn't seem like it. I'm being a tad defensive of the offensive line because I'm actually being a tad defensive of most of the players because I don't think their coaches are putting them in good situations. I've said this on every show I've done, but Ben, what are edge defenders going to do when they know that you're passing at every play?
Oh, yeah. Well, it happened the other day. Listen, we couldn't stop a 3-man front the other day. And it's because they put their ears back and got through a bunch of people. And
there's no balance. There's no threat of balance. There's no plan. There's no play calling that makes anyone on this offense look better. It's hurting Jackson. It's hurting the offensive line. It's hurting the running backs. It's hurting the receiver. Nobody is benefiting from what this offense has looked like. And so everybody wants to point at Chaplin, and that's fine. He deserves some of it for sure. But I don't think he's as awful as the production has been because as a play caller, you've just got to do better than what has been done so far.
No, if I'm choosing between play calling and personnel, I understand that the penalties have been there on the offensive line. I understand that guys have been getting to the quarterback more than they probably should have, which everybody points at the offensive line.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's good, but I'm not saying it's the biggest issue.
I think the play calling is putting them in that position in order to get them to that spot. So that's never a good combination when the guy calling the play is not executing correctly, which then causes the people carrying out the play to not execute the play correctly. And 2 wrongs are never going to make a right. And you're going to go 0 for 12 on 3rd down, and you're not going to have very many first downs, and you're not going to be in ball games unless your defense is able to score for you.
Yep.
It's frustrating to say the
Very
least.
frustrating.
A couple of weeks to fix it. So, what do we need to see moving forward, Zach? In my opinion, a change. And I'm not talking about in positions or in personnel. It comes down to a change.
Mentality.
And mentality and coaching, not necessarily philosophy, but just, again, it goes back to the stubbornness at the beginning. Like, get out of your comfort zone. Like, I know that you don't want to run it on first down, or I know you don't want to run it on second down, but let's take it back to that Baylor game. We said, well, we took what they gave us. Well, we're not doing that now.
Mm-hmm.
That all of a sudden changed. In games 1 and 2, we took what they gave us. In games 3, 4, and 5, we have not taken what they've given us.
Yeah.
So I think you get back to that mentality of doing that, even though that – let me ask you this, Zach. Would a wide receiver or a quarterback be more upset at the loss or that they're not getting the touches that they want?
I don't know.
See,
Might depend on the player.
I think that if they're winning, they're a little bit happier, and then you can make them even happier on top of that when you're winning by getting them the touches. But
I think it's easier to get them touches if you have a threat of a running game.
Yeah. Because they're going to bring
Talk
some
about
people
chunk
up.
plays and safeties backing off Coleman and everything's one-on-one. Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as those guys start backing up, change it at the line. Run somebody. At least put a threat of it up there where some safeties sneak up, some linebackers sneak up, some guys start cheating a little bit, and then you take advantage of the cheating. Because I think with the athleticism, the play will be there. You just have to be patient enough to wait for it and allow it to happen.
Yeah. How can people check out everything you've got going on?
AUnetwork.com. Click on the WANI logo. We'd love to see you, and do sports each and every morning, Monday through Friday, just after 7 with guys like Zach. So we're looking forward to that. So you guys come join us.
Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.